What's up, Buffalo Bills fans? Forever and a day and a minute on top of that, but you know, we come, we go. Uh, I look back at all the videos I used to do and say, wow, how did I have the energy and the emotional wherewithal to put up with that organization and that team as it was constructed then? And I, just because of the love of it, for the love of it, I think that's why we all did, for the love of it. And I've obviously I'm still a big fan. I follow the team. I'm no less for the wear of not doing YouTubes. Um, I just had to do a lot of stuff in life, a lot of decluttering in life. Had turned into a probably a level 3 hoarder. I had to rectify that recently and just get myself healthy and ready to go for season 30, number 36, I believe. It's been a time flies, time flies. But anyway, I'm not going to do really a review. Maybe I'll touch on it to some things that have happened with the team in the last year. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy 2 seasons. I want to say ever since 13 seconds, it's just been wild. The team has been good, frustrating to very good to damn near elite, and the narrative surrounding the team, the narrative surrounding the quarterback. I'll touch on that because I think it's absolutely astonishing the way that Josh Allen gets talked about to this day. And I just think it's people that are entrenched in a camp of they're really pissed that the guy turned out to be really, really good and made a lot of the wrong people look really, really bad, establishment people, and they'll never let them, live it down. Any chance they get to bash, they're going to come bash. Um, so yeah, there's that. All the things that have happened in the off season. Obviously, the Diggs move. I'm not going to sit here and knock him and do the low hanging fruit thing like, oh fuck him, he's gone. No, he's a member of a team in an AFC, and any member of an AFC team that's opposing the Bills, I'm not going to like very much. So that's my opinion on it. Is he still a very good player? Yes. He had a great run with the Bills. They come, they go. I've seen him many a come and go as we all have. So you know, it's just part of the business. Got a good haul for him, and we move on. The ads, we all know the ones that we'll be looking at. Obviously, Coleman is the one that most of us will be focused on. I'm looking at it as a total body, uh, mostly in-house, in the sense guys are going to be elevated. Guys are going to be looked at to take on roles that they haven't in the past. I think we saw that in the second half of the season, and I think last season is the 2 seasons. The pre Dorsey firing as in the post Dorsey firing. It just the way what Allen said in that clip of that Jets game, the first game they had when Dorsey was let go, and he said, "I feel fucking back." I just feel like the way they transition the team in terms of play style, more balance, too slightly run heavy. Kincaid started getting involved more. Shakir became a focal point, and then everything that happened preceding, whether in the playoffs and the off season with Diggs, the utilization, the lack thereof. It seemed like a lot of his touches were manufactured, kind of placating type of touches. Davis, sans the injury where this guy's not on the field, he can't produce, and just as we know, just games were just they would talk about him as a blocker, talk about him as a guy who did all the right things, from Monday through Saturday, which we know they still value, and but the production on the field is what loses and wins the day. I just feel like there was a disconnect there too that really wasn't touched on much, because he was let walk, and it turns out the Bills never even gave him a contract offer. That tells me something. That tells me something right there, and I don't think it was due to lack of the ability. Because did he get a nice deal from Jacksonville? Yes, but I just feel like they were ready to flip the page in that entire room. the way they went about their business, whether it was from the top to the bottom. It was the only bright spot in that room last year was Shakir. And I thought Sherfield and Hardy would do some nice things that just never found their footing. But they were part of a game that basically won the Bills the AFC East for 4 straight years. They were the guys that scored the points and made some big plays. And, with Hardy with his punt return and Sherfield with the concentration on the batted ball down near the goal line, it was just a room in a disconnect. I want to say that's what that was. It seemed like it was just very disconnected. Whether it was a disconnect on the field, off the field, there was just a disconnect. I look back at it, even in that game, there was the first drive of the game where Allen's throwing the ball, Davis is still going, and the ball gets intercepted. The miscommunication down in Philadelphia, where they could have walked off, won the game, and Davis is wide open. Allen does this, Davis does that. It's a shame because Diggs and Davis were part of a lot of great moments for the Bills that turned into rough moments, but still great moments as a whole in the 4 years. So hats off to them. I didn't want it to turn into a eulogy, but we're on to 2024. We're 17 days, 16 days away from the start of the season, and I'm excited. I'm interested to see how this new group, this new just youth movement. That's all I can say. It's a transition team, but I don't think it's a team that's low on expectations internally, like you would hear around, with the national shows, the low-hanging fruit shows, the Craig Cartons of the world, who puts out a short on YouTube saying that Brandon Beane is the one who floated that Josh Allen being reckless and turnover prone and overrated so he can trade him, like some crazy, like, asinine. If you're here and you listen to the New York shows, the insane stuff that comes out of the fan, you have so many. I mean, Peyton Manning, a great Peyton Manning, and he was great. For all, didn't win as many playoff games till his 7th year. Josh Allen has 3 more playoff wins than Peyton Manning had entering his 7th year. Peyton Manning turned over the ball 21 plus times every year. His first 6 years had 2 seasons of upwards of 30 turnovers, and you never heard the turnover prone, mistake prone. You just didn't hear it. You just didn't hear it. And Allen handles the ball way more than Manning ever did as a runner, and in some cases as a passer. I mean, 600 plus. He has a few seasons where he's thrown over 600 passes, more under Daboll. I just think it's just, again, it ties into what I said before. There's just people that are going to have they're just going to stay on it. They're never going to move off of it and acknowledge that the player overcame all of that and turned out to be a top 3 quarterback in this league. But a lot has happened. I've touched on some of it. Heading into this season, obviously, the injury bug is the theme of the week, the theme of the month. The Milano injury, and I'll circle back. I'll tie it in with the narrative that is the talking point, the kind of the theme of the offseason nationally for the Bills is regression, taking a step back, the loss of Diggs, the loss of Davis, the other, the Poyer, the Hydes, the Trey Whites, and I look at it as a Bills fan, somebody deeply connected to this team, as we all are, and I say to myself, wow, it is true that, and it is just more true, and I've said it a million times, you guys have probably observed it, these people really don't watch this team. And these people who get on television, on the podcast, the whole circle jerk where it's, the pay for play, I agree to plug you, we plug each other, we kiss each other's ass, we all talk about how great we are, We have the occasional staged back and forth, but we all know what this is here, right? They don't watch this team because if you'll look at it, let's just go back to 2022. Hyde's basically not on the field all year. He's down in week 2. He's gone. Poyer is a mash unit, plays an awesome season. Last year, he's basically playing dime linebacker because he's lost some of his range. He's not the same player. A lot of injuries. The defense basically minus Milano needed that, and that's what he did, and he did it well. Hyde, again, the stingers, you're fearing for the guy being taken off in a damn cart. You're worried. So he's not the same player. And then Trey White, who has missed 30-some plus games since Thanksgiving in 21 in New Orleans. And obviously Vaughn was a shell last year. No production. And the Bills still put out a unit that was extremely good. And I say to myself, these people do not watch this team. They don't watch this team. They don't know what's happened. The reason Damar Hamlin was even on the field in Cincinnati was because of those injuries. Remember when they all went down to Miami that one game? It was Cam Lewis. It was Damar Hamlin. It was Jaquan Johnson. It was Jamarcus Ingram. It was Kaiir Elam in the secondary for the Bills. Dane Jackson had got his nipper. So the Bills have been overcoming transition and injury for the last 2.5 years. This is not some new place for this organization, this team, these roster builders, these coaches to be in. So I'm poised. I'm fine with what's coming. I'm encouraged that I see a lot of the players are getting back on the practice field, whether it's in a limited capacity, full capacity, non-contact capacity. I'm very excited for that. I'm excited for Blaine Bishop. I'm excited for the new safety pairing, whether it's Rapp, Bishop, Edwards. You could throw Hamlin in there, and I'll give him his due. He stuck with it. He's a guy, I'll say honestly, I thought was just going to try to get through last year and whatever, and then retire. He's stuck around, and he's trying to play, and he's trying to get past the whole thing where it's just they talk to the player, and all they want to talk about is what happened in Cincinnati, and I even think he's tired of that. So I'll commend him for that, because I think he's grown fatigue of it. He just wants to go on with his life. With the new coaches that are in place, Kaiir Elam gets a second leash on life, which is needed because when the guys got on the field, he's made plays. Most people, this is what I say about the national people, most people couldn't even name Christian Benford, who was really coming into his own. He gets injured in the Pittsburgh game, playoff game, is a huge miss the next week. He was starting to intercept the football. He was really starting to make plays on the ball. And that was the next evolution in his game. And what a find, because when the guy's on the field, he is really, really good. And Rasul Douglas, hell of a trade last year, really, really just fit. I mean, just fit like a glove. It was, granted, Nyheim Hines had the game against the Patriots, the 2 kickoff returns. He just really never fit. He never found his role on offense, just kind of got relegated to that returning role, never really fit. Douglas just seemed to fit from a culture standpoint, a play style standpoint, a demeanor, everything. So I commend them for targeting him and finding him and just being able to make it work, because that's important. And then tying it all back, it's just Matt Milano, he hasn't been on the field since Jacksonville in London. The league moves fast. The Bills are used to this. They were here last year, so what they're going to line up on week 1 is nothing that they weren't used to from, was it week 5 of last year throughout the rest of the season and into the playoffs. And whether it's Dorian Williams, Eddie This is a hell of a tongue twister. Eddie Ulofoshio, I practiced that one. Joe Andreessen, who is the story of the week, and rightfully so. Or Balin Spector, who, god damn it, can't stay healthy, but if he can, we saw what he could do against Miami because he changed the complexion of that game in that Miami game. Miami was running the ball very, very well. Tyrell Dotson goes down. Spector comes in and he blows up some runs they were getting gashed on. He started fitting properly. He started, coming downhill. Those guards couldn't get up on him, and he was getting some guys down in the backfield and for little to no gains. It's frustrating. It's frustrating when guys like that, you see the ability can't stay on the field. So Andreessen, local kid, took the long road, fits the prototype, fits the story, UB, all that sort of stuff. This is not John Cordo, okay, who's basically just gonna, we're gonna have him on the roster for a year, have him on the practice squad, he'll cover some kicks. He made some plays. He made some plays. He looked good. He looks competent. He looks like he has ability. He looks like he has a trajectory that's linear. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of guys I'm very interested in seeing just this team be young, be just some different faces, different energy. It's Terrell Bernard's team now. It's Tyron Johnson's team now. It's this young group. It's Ed Oliver's team now. AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau. It's their defense now. Even Vaughn is going to just play a bit part in it. I think he's just going to be a specialty late game situational pass rusher just to preserve him. And he looked like he was getting close, and it's a shame. It's like everybody said that he looked good in camp and looks like the burst and the bend are back, and we hope that that's the case. But I'm excited. I'm excited for just the new additions, whether it's a Dwan Carter or, Bishop, as I mentioned, who, wow, I've never seen Brandon Beane more excited to draft a player than that kid, because they must have plans. They must see something. And I think about history, and I think about 2017 when this group, come in, the way they built the team, the way they constructed things, with the two safeties, revamping the secondary. A lot of that was done. The same thing was done this year with the drafting of Bishop. You bring in Mike Edwards, you re-sign Taylor Rapp. So you've already got the triumvirate. And then you still have holdovers like Cam Lewis and Hamlin. And then you bring in the new DB coach. Babich gets elevated to OC. You want some different energy, a different communicator. It seemed like something had run its course with Butler there at the back end, particularly with Elam. The relationship, everything reported was not what it should have been, and it reflected in the lack of playing time, just sometimes lack of confidence, and just you've seen it. The kid makes a penalty, puts Pittsburgh near the goal line, and then makes the interception. And then the year before, he makes the interception against the Dolphins, which just changes the game. He has ability. He just needs to be on the field, playing, going through it, and I think Elam will be fine. But you transition to the offense. I'm excited. I'm excited. I think Shakir. For me, I think Shakir is going to be similar to a Robert Woods with a quarterback. I think Shakir is going to have the career that Robert Woods had once he finally got with Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. Just that type of ability. I think you're going to see that, and maybe even a little bit more explosion. I think Shakir looks more explosive. A little bit more rack ability. Maybe he's not the blocker, but he's willing. So I'm and Coleman, just the whole group. Whether it's Samuel, who's nursing something on the foot right now, but it seems like he's and McDermott, we all know how close to the vest with injuries he is. Said he's optimistic, and if you get that out of McDermott, then you're like, oh shit, okay. Like for me, I'm gonna be like, okay, he's playing, because if McDermott even gives you that, it's like that's a lot. But with Coleman, with Samuel, I'm the fourth guy. Whether it's Hollins, interesting dude, gritty type of guy. Looks like he's going to be in that Kumaro, Gabe Davis type of role, clear outs, running guys deep. Hopefully make some tough catches, some go up and great size. I mean, the size of the receiving corps took a a total 180 in terms of you have Coleman, you have Hollins, you might have MVS, maybe Terrell Shavers. I think they're going to keep 5 wide receivers and 4 tight ends. With Morris's shoulder injury, I don't know. They might just carry him, but everything you've heard about Davidson, he's going to make the team. He makes a play last week. Said he's been making plays all camp. Anybody you read that covers this team, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see Kincaid's role evolve. We liked what he was doing at the end of last year. See how Knox now fits in. See if that 12th package comes back and how they use it this year with Brady having the full menu, the full plate, not calling somebody else's offense, calling his flavor. How that meshes with Josh, having a young back, and it's a different position that they've had at backup running back than they've had. Again, you go back to 17. It's Shady who's at the end. They kind of have just a hodgepodge of guys like Marcus Murphy, Candidate. In the next year, it's Tolbert and guys of that nature. I mean, Shady was on his last legs there. It's not really the same group. And then you go into 19. It's Gore and Singletary. Singletary was the young, fun player. Gore was the older guy, gave you what you had early and wore down late. Singletary kind of like has back and forths with players that are just guys, the veteran types like the Matt Breidas and the TJ Yeldons, not a young virile looking guy that looks like has a hell of a story, like the Ray Davis is truly like, I don't even know if he's a 1% of a 1%. I think he's like a 100 millionth of a, just hearing like how he went to high school, how he traveled around, how he had just the 3,000 yards, the 1,000 yards at 3 different schools. Just a crazy story. And we saw versus Pittsburgh, like how, he runs hard and he runs with a lot of, just a lot of good pad level, runs through contact well. I didn't take too much out of that Chicago Bears game. I know there was a lot of panic and a lot of hyperbole, just wild stuff, coming out of left field and right field. I was just like, just preseason game 1, first kind of like half game again. How excited are they going to be? Yeah, I'll be good. Like you're fine. But he really ran well. Cook ran well. He ran well. All the backs ran well last week, so I'm encouraged by that. Whether it was Gore Jr., Darrington Evans, he ran. All the backs ran well, so I'm encouraged. They really just kind of allayed those anxieties. This game, obviously, coming up against Carolina, is just kind of a get through it game, a bubble wrap game. We all know what these last preseason games are. Just get us through it, get us to the regular season. It is a painful thing where it's like, hey, I love seeing the uniform out there. I love seeing the players. But, it's like, that's not the Bills. That's not the Bills that we're going to be watching week 1 at Highmark against the Cardinals. That's just not it. It's not it for any team. So, be that as it may, I'm excited. I'm encouraged. I'm hoping that a lot of these guys that are on the mend stay on the mend. There's no setbacks. And I hope Milano gets back. I really do. I hope he gets back late in the year, maybe late January. early January, late January. You know, they're playing in late January. That's a good thing. But if late December, January, but therein lies a problem. If you have a player like whether it's Dorian Williams, Lafoscio, Andreessen, are you going to pull them guys off the field if they're playing really, really well and throw Milano in, or are you going to leave those guys out there and be like, Milano, you're up, but these guys are out there now. I always look at history. They had a guy in Carolina, Thomas Davis, had 3 ACLs. They stuck with him down there, and I know he was part of that Super Bowl defense, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the kind of route they're going to take here because it is an arm injury, but he was coming off the leg injury, so there's kind of a silver lining that now has more time to really heal, and it's not setting him back in that way. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing that's not going to be a setback, and he can kind of like still do whatever rehab he needs to do with that or treatments, and then focus on the biceps. It sucks. It sucks, and I heard a lot of fans and calling One Bills Live and different shows saying oh, what's up with the trainers? This was a freak accident. He slipped in a bag drill, put his arm down to brace himself, and his bicep popped. I mean, what are you going to do to prevent that? Nothing. But everybody wants to blame somebody for something. That's just the nature of the beast. But anyway, thanks, guys. I've taken up enough of your time. It's been a while. Sorry for the long absence. Just getting myself and things together. Almost felt like I didn't know how to do this anymore. Like I don't know how many times I've gotten in front of the cam and started talking and just totally shit the bed. But anyway, thanks, guys. I appreciate you. Go Bills. Maybe I'll do a watch along on Sunday for Saturday for what it is, and just knock on wood. Let us get to the 8th clean, free, and clear. Let's get some good news on a lot of these guys. It looks like a lot of these guys, like I said before, are getting back on the practice field and moving around, kind of trying to crescendo their way back to the playing field. So thanks a lot. Love you all. Go Bills.